So let's talk about paint thickness gauges for a second here. This gauge is a relatively inexpensive one you can get off Amazon for about $60 to $70. You can measure the paint in mils or microns, whichever is your preference, and the gauge is decently accurate, enough to get you the information you need to move forward with the job, which we'll talk about in a minute. Then you have the next diag, which has a lot of different capabilities. Your main concern when you're measuring paint is to find thin paint. Thin paint can mean that it was buffed before, it was sanded before, it can mean that there's risk involved in polishing that section. And you can see I measured out some rock chips to show you that there's absolutely no paint there, just rust. And then the next diag actually has an app, which we can talk about later. It has a ton of features you can use. The other thing you want to look for is abnormally thick readings. That can mean that there's Mondo present. It can mean there's filler present. It can mean that there's paint on top of paint and it wasn't prepped right. And all of this gives you the ability to give your customer information so that they're not surprised when something goes wrong. They get to make the well-informed decision on whether to hunt for perfection or not.